Hello everyone and welcome back to Combat Mission Shock Force 2, where you join me today in what might be a bit of a politically sensitive battle here, as I'm going to simulate uh, one of the civil war battles between regime forces, which we have here, we're controlling them, and rebels. Uh, Now this is a fictional engagement. I'm going to assume that this is the early part of the Civil War, and we're here with a guards mechanized company trying to retake control of one of Damascus's suburbs, the capital of Syria, which was being fought over pretty heavily, especially at the start of the Civil War. What we have here is, like I said, a mechanized company of the Republican Guard, so this is the higher quality branch of the Syrian army, which its main task is really to uphold the regime and not so much fight anything else. We also have a single platoon of T-72s. Now, since this is the early part of the Civil War, as you can see, these tanks aren't outfitted with any kind of explosive reactive armor, cage armor, or anything to help it in urban combat. And urban combat is really what we're getting into here. And urban combat is really what caused a lot of these tanks to be destroyed earlier on in the Civil War, because, well, they're just really not designed to fight in an urban environment. They're extremely vulnerable to shape-charged ammunition like the RPG, and the rebels have a lot of those. So the objective here is to retake control of a part of the city that's already pretty seriously damaged. As you can see, our left flank, or the first part of our left flank, is already basically reduced to rubble, which provides for some pretty long sidelines here, especially since this is somewhat higher ground than the center of the city or the suburb, based on our scenario. We've got 3 objectives. This, never mind, 4 objectives. We also got this one right here. Didn't even notice that. Although that might be part of this objective, and we just can't see the rest of this bit highlighted. There's a little bit highlighted here as well. Might be bugged out. Might be that this is one big objective right here. So let's just assume we've got 3 objectives. This one in the middle, this major one on the right flank, which is really well and truly within urban territory, extremely difficult to get to. And then the third one here, also a major VP, slightly more on the outskirts, but still well within a build-up area, allowing the enemy to strike at anyone getting in there from multiple directions. So with that information, and with the fact that the enemy has the advantage in these build-up environments, especially against my armored vehicles, which are very vulnerable to RPGs, especially from close range, these BMPs will probably not survive a single hit from an RPG, and these T-72s might get lucky if they take one on the chin, but the side or rear, they will be dead too. There's another problem, which is not really a problem with these vehicles, but a problem with combat mission, or the way the AI works. If you target a building or an area with the target command, these BMP2s will use their ATGM on it. And that wouldn't be as much of a problem if it weren't for the fact that the ATGM then has to be reloaded manually by the gunner, who will, under any circumstances, open his hatch, get out, and reload the ATGM, which takes quite a bit of time and generally gets him killed by small arms fire. So I can't really use the target command on suspected enemy positions. I can only let the BMP use its cannon on targets that it can see by itself. Only then will it use the cannon, and I'll have to use the target light command if I want to suppress anything. Oh, I forgot to mention, we've also got a Shilka here attached to the tank company. I believe I attached it to the tank company, yeah, or the tank platoon rather, which will be very useful in clearing buildings from any activity. And it's meant to be an anti-aircraft unit, but as the rebels don't have any aircraft, we'll be able to use it in an anti-infantry role. Alright, without further ado, let's start this battle and get things going. I'm moving up over here and over here. Try to get a base of fire on this line of buildings and move up on the left flank first where the ground is open, and I'll have long lines of fire. Once I get over here, I'm going to try and push into this area, so that way I can get kind of an L-shaped base of fire here, which won't make my job of pushing into these objectives easy, but it will make it more manageable, as I will be able to fire at almost any part of the city from at least one of these positions. I don't have a very large force, and the enemy does have quite a large force because they're only infantry, so they don't cost as many points. I've got a lot of fighters here in the city. Alright, having moved up these BMPs to where they can just almost peek over the hill, I'm gonna get the infantry out, see if I can get into contact with the enemy. These Syrian mechanized infantry squads have 7 men in them. There's 3 of them, so 21 for a platoon, which is a pretty low number if you ask me. One of the squads is also the platoon commander. Let's get these guys out as well. Then just peek over and keep at a distance where the enemy's weapons are less effective. They are going to have some snipers, some SVD armed guys, which will be a threat at range, but they don't have any heavy weapons like I do. So I don't have to worry about a tank deleting an entire squad with a single round. I also have the added advantage of these BMPs acting as ammunition carriers. So whenever any of my squads run low on ammo, I can rush them back into a BMP and rearm them. Because honestly, they don't start off with an awful lot of ammo. They use AKMs, an RPG, and 1 PKM per squad. For the PKM, they only get 100 rounds, which I think is just 1 drum, so just the drum that the guys got in the gun. I don't know what the 545 is for, because none of them use 545 weapons. I thought maybe the RPG gunner might have... I don't know, we're getting into contact. Maybe the RPG gunner might have an AK-74 or something, but I don't see it on him. So that's kind of baffling to me. I don't know what that's there for. And these squads also don't really have a lot of 7.62 ammo for their AKMs. This particular one's got an SVD, so it's got 4 AKMs. That's not even 200 rounds per guy. It's not a lot of ammo. But that's what we've got the BMPs for. Right, we're getting into contact here, and now we're getting into the problem where I can't target that with the BMPs because they're not spotting them. So if I were to target that building, say I'd have line of sight, they'd fire the ATGMs and get out to reload them and get shot. So I can't do that. But I can get them into a position where they could theoretically see the guy. Thing is, I want to be careful not to expose my BMPs too much, because the enemy is going to have a lot of RPGs. If these are the guys taking the fire, yeah, let's have them return fire. See if anything else pops up or if it's just an isolated enemy element there. Up here on the left, I don't think we're taking any fire. Maybe these guys can see the guy on the roof there. They can't, but they should have line of sight. Let me see. Yeah, they should have line of sight, so I'm gonna have them open fire anyway. And we'll have these guys rush into the building here. Let's make sure they stay on the bottom floor so as not to expose themselves too much. These guys opening fire. I think I'll have these guys rush into the building here. See if they can get line of sight over there. I'm holding the tanks and my fire support ZSU back for now. Okay, I hope that wasn't an ATGM. I think it was an RPG. Fired an RPG at this team, which failed to connect. Seems to be a commander. Just an AK. We're not receiving very heavy fire for the moment, and we're giving more than we're getting. Another RPG missing completely, but the enemy doesn't have any armor, so I'm not really worried about running out of RPG rounds. Plus the BMPs carry a few more. These teams carry a couple of HE rockets. I armed these with a few more, but a team starting out will have 2 HE and 2 AT rockets on them. I'm not sure whether they'll use the AT rockets against the infantry. I hope they will. It's gonna be better than nothing. I've also got this weapons platoon, by the way, in addition to the 3 infantry platoons, which I will set up in a base of fire once we secure these buildings. These guys aren't seeing anything, which is good, I guess. Well, let's move the next team up. That guy's probably suppressed by now. Move them into this building. These guys up a little bit further. Just inch them up. These guys are still firing. Can't really see anything, so I'm gonna have them stop. Well, it is tempting to cross and take this building. I'm afraid that these guys will get overwhelmed once I do. They don't really have any support behind them. So I'm gonna slowly move more troops to this position so that they can cover each other in bounding overwatch. Leave these guys here for now. Slowly inch up with the BMPs. So this guy might be able to get a shot between these buildings. It will be very difficult to hit him with an RPG at the ranges we're looking at here. And he might be able to get some keyhole firing solutions into enemy positions. Just gotta make sure I remember not to target anything. Just to use the target light command. Because unfortunately the AI is not smart enough to stay inside the BMP. They will come out and reload that ATGM once they fired it. These guys haven't seen anything either, so I'm gonna move these guys past behind them and into this building, covered by their comrades down here. I haven't been taking as much fire as I was expecting, to be honest, though. Never mind, speak of the devil. Some serious incoming from over there. There we go. Now they're really showing themselves. That's an SVD. That's the commander we saw earlier. This is another SVD. And an RPD. Yeah, it's an RPD. Alright. These guys seem to be pretty well armed. Might be some foreign fighters among them. Let's see. Not an extreme volume of fire yet, but they might be building up. I'm going to try and slowly move up the BMPs a little bit further, hoping that they'll spot the enemy of their own accord. Otherwise I'm going to have to start giving out target light commands to hose them down with their machine guns at least. See how these guys are doing. These guys can see quite a few of the enemy, so that's a pretty good position. I think I'm gonna move these guys up ahead, and then I'm gonna have one of my weapons teams, or actually two of the machine guns, move up into this building. inch this guy forward a little further. Just resting the hill there. So we're getting a shot. Unfortunately, we have been taking some casualties here. The trick now is going to be to get into cover. Fortunately, they're all deciding to lie down. There we go. The BMP has spotted an enemy unit by itself. It will use the cannon. Okay, that's some very heavy machine gun fire coming up from up there. I really like to target it with my BMPs. Taking 2 casualties so far. Let's hope the rest can get into the building safe. I'm gonna have one of my tanks move up here, actually just behind this building in case there's enemy on the right here. See if they can get a solution into that building because we're taking heavy fire from there. It's another RPD. Just hose down 2 of our guys here. And they're still lying around next to the building in full view of the enemy. Some more BMPs are opening fire now, fortunately. We're really dependent on their firepower here. These guys are pinned down. These guys got in here okay, but are now getting hosed down. Okay, I'm gonna have to be a little bit more reckless with the BMPs. Get them into a firing position quickly before the enemy overwhelms us. I'm gonna get those machine guns in here. Start really punishing the enemy. Let's see. Okay, I don't think I can give them an order to get into the building when they're still in the vehicle. Let's have them both dismount. Right. Second floor. Set up the MG. Same here. Set up the other MG. Try and get some fire superiority here. BMP in the meanwhile can move up. Okay, I think that was a T-72 firing there. Definitely was. Now this is the firepower we need to win these engagements. Our infantry isn't really any higher quality than those fighters over there. They're Republican Guards, so they're a little bit better, but they still wouldn't hold up to any NATO troops. Their weapons aren't any more advanced. They use basically the same as the enemy. They don't have any body armor. Rarely have radios on the squad level, just the platoon level, if they're lucky. So I'm really leaning heavily on my fire support here. Seems like for now we're starting to win fire superiority. At least on this side. These guys are not feeling too well, but I want to get them into the building right now. They're not being fired upon anymore. 2 casualties, unfortunate, but it's gonna keep happening, I'm afraid. Let's get these guys into the building over here. It's not great cover since it's rubble, but there's still a wall in front of them that should shield them from most enemy fire. Alright, that's 2 platoons now in action. Still have 1 in reserve here. I've got 1 more weapons or 2 more machine guns. I've got the Shilka, 3 tanks, some BMPs with 1 platoon here. Seems to be dying down a little bit. What is reassuring is the fact that I haven't seen any incoming RPGs. I'm gonna assume they only have short range RPGs and they're not firing them from this kind of distance. It's gonna be allowing me to deploy my BMPs somewhat more aggressively. And I'm gonna have to get real careful once we get into this urban terrain here. Once I'm confident that We've got fire superiority here. I'm gonna move up the 3rd platoon that I've held in reserve until now. Up to the left flank. Alright, me and my big mouth. The moment I move up one of my BMPs, it gets RPG'd. Unsure from where. But I'm gonna have to be more careful from now on. I do wonder where that RPG came from. Presumably somewhere that can't see these three. MG should be deploying right about now. BMP with their ammo has unfortunately been destroyed. Maybe I should give some thought to distributing the ammo earlier. Just in case, especially if these machine gun teams. There's really no reason not to. They're not going to be moving very fast anyway. Let's see what the best course of action is up here. There's walls here, shielding us from the enemy and them from us. So if I were to rush that platoon of BMPs past here, might be able to get into position back here. Question is if the enemy's got any positions over here. There's no objective here. So they don't necessarily have to be here, but there's a good chance that they were able to forward deploy here and might have some units in here. It only takes a couple RPGs to decimate this platoon here. I think I'm gonna let the firefight rage on for a little bit longer before I make that kind of move. The real problem here is how limited we are in manpower. Can't really afford to attack along 2 axes at the same time. Yet, it's also very dangerous to move up without having a flank secured, at least on one side. That guy's pretty well pinned. Okay, we got a casualty here. Slightly hurt. But they are pretty wide out in the open here, so I'm gonna have to move back into this building. I'll be able to see basically just as much. Except not that these guys, what this building is blocking. And of course the moment I pull them back they get shot. This is unfortunate. I'm gonna move up one more tank. Seems to have the better optics compared to the BMPs. Between here, since these BMPs haven't been targeted by RPGs yet, assuming it's safe there. These guys are running away. That's interesting. They haven't taken any casualties. Did I accidentally order them to do that? I might have. I don't think they're not pinned down or anything. Okay, some secondaries. That BMP. That guy set up again. These guys are okay. These guys have taken no further casualties. Or these. If these guys aren't seeing anything, I'm going to move them up in there as well. Good thing that BMP is starting to get some spots. So once you get that cannon into action, you really start to cause casualties. But they'll have to spot the enemy by themselves. This guy's moving back in here. Let's set up this platoon to make a move. I think the tank might be bogged down there. Yep, it is. Taking care of the casualty. There he goes. Wasn't too serious. Might have been a secondary explosion from his BMP forcing these guys out of the building. Yeah, there we go again. It's not really enemy fire, it's the secondary. Get back in there, guys. I know it's scary, but it's better than being out in the open. This guy has got apparently a keyhole position here. Being able to see some of the enemy in this building, which is a good thing. As you can see, the enemy's really heavily concentrated around the city center part here. I think that's gonna be the real challenge. I'm gonna take a risk here and move these guys up really quickly to the point where they're behind this building. This is a big gamble, assuming that the enemy didn't forward deploy any of their troops here. If they did, we might be toast. Alright, let's hope they're not too good at shooting RPGs at moving targets. There we go, we're now silhouetting ourselves here. Let's hope these rebels didn't get too much RPG practice yet. About halfway there. Having a bit of a drag race here. Nothing yet, nothing yet. But once they stop, we need to get the infantry out ASAP. Because they're sitting ducks here. It's kind of a situation, the infantry really is our eyes. These BMPs are basically blind bats. Optics aren't too good. With this tank here in support. These guys back around below the defilade into the building. Immediately the tank spots the enemy. You can really see the difference in optics between these two. It's not the most modern T-72, but it's probably still got infrared optics. Not sure if we can tell. Yeah, infrared optics, which really aid in acquiring the enemy. Except this guy also has IR optics, so I'm not sure. But the other part is that this vehicle only has 2 crew members, a driver and a gunner. So the gunner basically also has to be the commander of the vehicle, which makes it a bit more difficult for him to keep situational awareness. It's easier in the tank where you have a dedicated commander and a dedicated gunner. Right in between these BMPs. Alright, we haven't received any RPG fire yet. And in terms of small arms fire, we've been pretty lucky also. So this might have been a good move. Tank firing again. With BMPs up to either edge of these buildings. And be a bit ballsy with this guy. Clear through these buildings. Given the fact we didn't receive any fire, I'm assuming they're pretty clear. Maybe there's some enemy back there. Try to set up that L shape that I've been talking about before we push into these objectives. So, start with the command squad. Have to move into this building. Meantime, since they got there safe, I'm gonna move up the machine gun teams over here up to the building as well. I'll redistribute the remaining armor later. These BMPs back here, by the way, are manned by battalion and company HQ. I think I'll disembark them from their vehicles and use those BMPs as extra fire support later on. I also carry some ammo that could be useful. I believe I heard what sounded like perhaps an RPG just now. Could have been fired by us, could have been fired by the enemy. And once again, these guys have decided to retreat, probably because of secondary explosions from the dead BMP there. Their nerves really aren't holding up here. Okay, casualty here. Is that one of these guys? Yeah, it was. Wasn't as safe as I thought it was here. Mainly getting shot at from afar though, so they really got lucky taking that guy out just as he left the building. Move this BMP up slightly because he's seeing something, obviously. Okay. Alright, this guy's doing okay. I'll have this guy move into that BMP and then come on, make sure they are moving into it and then move them up to this building. I'm not gonna have them walk because these guys just took a casualty crossing this open field. Move the BMP up to the building, move them into it, use the BMP as fire support. Taking a risk here again. The enemy's got RPGs here, we're toast. Get him in there. BMP's got a spot, I think. Yes, he does. It's a good thing, let's hope they don't have any RPGs here. Face him that way. Presents some of his admittedly very thin armor towards the enemy. Hearing an explosion. I hope it was in the enemy camp and not mine. Okay, I really would have preferred you to use this door, guys. The whole point of moving you in the BMP was to avoid these kinds of situations. Please don't get shot now. Oh my lord. The intelligence on some of this AI. Really. Alright. Face that way, set up that MG. That's why you're here. Face you that way. Let's get this BMP to go around. And unload its squad here. And we're taking casualties. Of course, it is the squad leader. Always fortunate enough to lose him. I think I'll move this BMP to about here. See if we can shoot between those buildings. Because if I keep losing infantry at this rate, we're never gonna get to that objective. Quickly now. Get to cover. Okay. Let's get these guys to move into the building really quickly. Are doing okay now. Oh, hang on. That's an anti-tank team. They're in the open. Make it easier for us to take them out. I think I'm gonna move up my armor into position here because I want to take advantage of any enemy moving out into the open and punish them for it. There we go. I'll move the other tank up through this gap. To this position here. Hopefully it can prove to be of some use. Okay, this guy's under fire by RPGs. Let's move him back a little. Another casualty here. We're really laying the hurt on us here. We're not really laying it back. That's the thing. Won't really pin these guys. These guys are... They've had enough. These guys haven't really been under fire. Somehow. These guys have been taking the brunt. Some more BMPs opening up here on the right. It's always a good thing to hear. 2 RPDs in a single team here. Casualty. The enemy is paying for moving out through the open. Right in front of my BMPs and my tanks. Here so we can get a more wide field of fire. There we go. Just a tiny bit. Go. Right, MG did get in here, but can't really see anything. Understandably. Moving this team is probably gonna be suicidal. Still have to cross this kill zone. Thing is, we've pretty thoroughly suppressed that area there. I would really like to move up, so I'm gonna take the risk, make it a fast move into that building, so we can start getting into this line here. Also, let's move the MG up to the 2nd floor, where hopefully they'll be able to see a little bit more. Perhaps see over that wall. Yep. And into the city. Deploy the weapon there. I'm not moving these guys up too far because of the RPG threat. I'll have one of these teams, the one that's still intact, move back into the BMP so we can relocate them later on. More movement being spotted in the city here. The more of these we can cut down now while they're in the open, the easier the job is gonna get once we push in here. Fortunately, I don't think the Syrian army has the best shots in the world. Let's move up the rest of our firepower here. All the guns we can get pointed to the enemy direction are welcome. Starting to take fire here. Where from exactly? Over there. Right, I'll have the BMP up to the right of this building or to the left. Let's see. I think the left is more of a keyhole here. Less likely to get targeted by an RPG. They are taking fire as they're entering the BMP. No casualties, fortunately. These guys got here safely. They already took that casualty earlier. I'm gonna have to move up into the next building real quick. And then have these guys go around. Let's see where they could get safely. To the back of this, the BMP right up to the edge of this building. Okay, really didn't need to just move blatantly out into the street here. But that's on me for not checking the number of entrances of the building again. They will always choose. It's Murphy's law of combat mission. Your AI will always choose the worst possible entrance to a building. If there is a entrance that is covered by enemy fire, your troops will choose it to enter the building. See how this BMP does. Please no RPGs. Please no significant emotional events for the crew here. So far so good. And disembark. Serious volume of fire going down here. Got a lot of firepower set up here. It's basically suicidal for the enemy to move from one side to the other. And if I'm able to isolate these guys here, I will be able to wheel around and take that objective. But it will take time, and it will be extremely difficult to take the city center here. I'm not sure we'll be able to pull that off. Buildings are infested with them. Strange how this guy got hit by an RPG, but none of the others. Interesting. Maybe they took out the RPG after it hit this guy. Okay, we got a lot of casualties here. Please don't move over there. It's suicide. Didn't see what happened here. But I'm gonna assume. Ah, they moved out into the balcony here. And got absolutely destroyed for it. Alright. They decided to move here in their panic. Seems suicidal to me, but they're not getting shot at yet. It's basically in a bit of a defilade here. Seems to be relatively safe. Alright. Hang on. That's the commander of the weapons team. Thought there was an entire squad just got deleted here. Alright, let's move them back into the BMP. Move these BMP up as well. Start to get to a position where we can take these guys out. I doubt we'll be able to mass the infantry power we need to take this objective, but we might be able to use armor to make up for what we lack in infantry. Exposing my armor here, but I feel I need to take some of the heavy lifting off my infantry. BMPs in front of my tanks, as they're more expendable. I think he'd be able to get in between his buildings here. Apparently not. Alright. These guys in the BMP real quick. Start massing power on this side. The tank cover it by putting one round into this building. This will hopefully dissuade the enemy from firing any RPGs at this BMP. Of course, I'm moving into a position where he doesn't see it anymore. Did I hit any other of my BMPs? I think so. Okay, give him a shot. I thought I'd at least stun him long enough for this guy to get around here and through this kill zone. He's gonna cross it again over there, so I'm gonna give him another shot. I think he hit the tree there. Alright, does this guy run the gauntlet? He made it. Give him no choice of where to enter the building. Make it here. These guys are taking some fire now. That building just collapsed, taking with it anyone still in there. These guys are getting in without being shot at from over there, which is surprising to me actually. Makes me dare move up this BMP up to that alleyway between these buildings. Then into this building, then into here. I really lack the infantry power here to make an assault like this, but I don't really have a choice. Put them in there, hope they make that. Okay. It's getting awful quiet here. I don't like it. Prefer for the enemy to keep exposing himself to my BMPs and my tanks. Another sniper up here. That's gonna be bad if he spots my team moving, which I think he does. Yep, there we go. It's the first casualty right there. Do I have any tanks that can see that? I think I'm gonna need to move up another tank to the left flank. We've got two here. Probably more than we need. Or at least we have fewer on the left than we need. There we go. Infantry did get in here okay. Take a risk here and wheel them around this building, facing diagonally to the right. So to get a wider field of fire here. Hopefully without receiving too many RPGs in the face. And immediately see the result here. Spotting more guys. But it's a risk. Alright, let's see up here. We haven't really built up as much as I'd like to. These guys move to the BMP, move them across the street up to here. See a little bit more. Right, they're in. Across there. Don't move through your teammates, it's going to slow you down. Oh boy. Is that their tank? Yeah, that was our tank. Deciding he didn't like that wall, I guess. Saw something up there. You can really start to tell how important these tanks and these VMPs are in this assault. We wouldn't have gotten a single foot with just the infantry. Would have been pinned down immediately. These VMPs are extremely useful in moving across open spaces. With the infantry. Okay. Oh no, for God's sakes, why would you do this? There's a door right here, why would I have to spell it out to you? Oh my God. Can you believe this? Why? It's right here. Seems like this guy just got his mind back. They did not take any casualties from that? Apparently so. I am surprised. Reverse him. Again, refuel the fire right down the street. What are these guys doing? Pinned down. Move him forward so he can cover that building. Of course you can't. Right, screw that then. Move him up. Gotta make the enemy expose himself by using our infantry and then finish them off with the tanks and BMPs. But that does mean the BMPs have to be in a position to fire in the first place. Okay, get up to the second floor, please. Set up your MG there. No, it's dangerous, but we don't really have a choice here. Too sure about this. I'm gonna start moving up. At least the infantry will be able to get to this wall safely. Thought they would anyway. Okay, they could be seen here, but should be safe right now. We're doing on ammo. Okay. As you can see, the PKM, well, he's a casualty, but they were already out of ammo for that. The tanks to move up in support. This guy's spotting. Oh, these guys just found out what it's like to be at the wrong end of the 4 barrels of a ZSU-23 Shilka. It's not fun at all. finishing them off from really close range here. Those autocannons. Alright. Try that again, will ya? Give me a big boom here. There he goes, he's aiming. Come on. You can do it. Boom. Well, I felt that. Can hear that Wilhelm screaming here. Taking some serious casualties, but we are pushing through. I'm gonna slowly start shifting forces here to the right so we can start moving into this part right here. I don't really dare move up any of the infantry, but I don't really want to move the armor up and support it either. Difficult position I find myself in here. These guys are doing okay. Let's start moving up through this wall to get some better firing solutions. I hope these guys can move through. Of course they're not. The only option is to use the armor here. Hope they don't get insta RPG. I'll have this guy peek around the corner here. Take a big old boom to that building right there. Been receiving a lot of fire from there. And give it to him. Kaboom. I think that will clear most resistance. Reverse this guy and move him in next to the tank. Okay, through there. I want you to stay. Hang on. You should just stay down here, preferably. Some kind of defilade. Should be able to get up here, right? What you're seeing here is what you saw a lot in the Syrian civil wars: armor moving up unsupported by infantry, because the infantry just isn't as capable as it needs to be. Let's see what's going on here. These guys are routing for some reason, not sure why. I don't think they took any additional casualties. Oh well. You guys moved really quickly into this building. Okay. This guy's having some real navigational troubles, so let's just move him up next to this guy. Him up through the middle. Him up through the side. Just hope the RPGs remain silent. It's supposed to be an RPG team, judging by the icon. And he's holding an AK. The RPG guy might have been taken out already. Be lucky for me. Or they might have run out of RPG ammo. That's another option. This tank has really gone through his HE fast. Let's see about the other guy. He's got some more left. sounded like a building collapsing right there. So you still get infantry in here. Please end him. Please. There you go. Come on. Excellent. Alright. You just move up next to your buddy here. Infantry did get in here okay. Where did the other squad run to? Right here. I'm not sure why. They're just really scared, I think. Alright. Slowly move up this tank. Up the road here. Let's hope the insurgents aren't using IEDs yet. Or landmines. Once we do push to about this line, I'm also gonna have these guys push up. Their use as a base of fire will be limited from that point on. These guys are still in a pretty good position here. I'm gonna need to push up with these. I'm getting to the really scary part of the city. Now we've got a foothold in this major victory point. If we can also get this minor one, we'll outnumber the enemy in terms of victory points. I doubt we'll be able to capture this major VP as well. That'll be really difficult. And we've only got a single squad of infantry and a single tank up here, so this one's also going to be difficult. Let's have a move up. Building by building. These guys move up along the cover of the wall here. Should be able to get there safely-ish. Unless there's a lot left in those buildings, I don't think so. These guys got here okay. Move up to the wall. These guys move up to the next building, along with their BMPs and their tanks. We need to make sure the enemy is completely cleared out of this objective, so that we own it. It's not just neutralized. I think they're all out of here. There's really no other place to hide. These guys are taking a little bit more than they're giving out, unfortunately. Again, through lack of fire support here. These guys in here quickly. Provide some kind of relief at least. Ammo situation is pretty low. I'm gonna have to move into the BMP and rearm. Again, drawing fire, but that does expose the enemy and allows us to eliminate them. The enemy seems to be lacking in anti-tank weapons. It really is a lucky break for me. I'm back up in 762. They still have their PKM, so give them some more of that. There we go. And some RPG rockets. There we are. And move back in there. So these guys, they're still okay. They don't have a PKM. They should have enough 762 for now. These guys are also okay on ammo. These guys are okay on ammo. These guys are low on the DMR ammo. They don't have a BMP near them, so gonna have to wait. I could move this guy out. Still got a lot of ammo. Need more fire support on this flank anyway. having cleared this left flank somewhat, I'm gonna wheel these guys around even further. Get an even better shot to potential enemy positions deeper into the city. There. Like so. For the amount of time this thing's been burning, it still looks pretty intact actually. But I think none of the crew got out alive, so there's probably a couple of charcoal corpses in there. Alright, move them up. We have taken this objective now, I'm positive about that. We are really close to taking this one. The enemy can't really have a presence left in this objective except for maybe in here or in here if they're really sneaky. So let's make sure. Take it to this building. Use target light on that building. See if we can oh, okay, well that's something that's new to me. Apparently target light means also means the other cannon. Oh, okay. Right, well that really eliminates the possibility of any enemy hiding in there. I think the objective does extend, no, not quite into that building. And it might extend further across this field, but I don't think it encompasses these buildings here. So I'm really wondering if these are separate victory points. I'm not sure about that. How are you doing? Okay, you're really scared. Okay, it's easy, easy. Please don't run into the open like that. Oh god. There's no way of stopping them either. They've decided they're gonna kill themselves. There's not much I can do about it. Can't cancel the order. Well, see how far they get. Some more exposed enemies over here, I think. Really being forced to move up with just armor here. I really don't like it. It's not how I like to play the game. But I am left with no choice. Alive. I'm up to the wall at least for some cover. Alright, you didn't have to move all the way around like that, but sure, now you're here. Okay, that's an RPG targeting this BMP, that's for sure. This wall. Hang on, let's not move them up to this wall until they have ammo. Okay, now that we've gotten all the way up to here, I'm gonna go ahead and also push up on this flank. These forces are relatively fresh. They have taken some casualties. Nothing too serious. Let's start them. Well, these guys have taken a lot of casualties actually. Are these... hell are these? Oh, those were the guys inside here. Okay. I remember that. These guys just took lightly wounded. Alright. Alrighty. So I'm gonna move this platoon up. Let's get these guys into a position to advance. And move up with the cover of this tank and these BMPs. These guys are in an okay position to provide some cover still, but these guys I'm gonna have moved back and assist in the assault. SMG could definitely be in a better position. I didn't actually get it all the way up here. It's really exposed, but it's got a nice field of fire. Okay, these guys really aren't too useful here anymore. I'm gonna move one of the BMPs into the objective here, just in case that is a separate objective. We will hold that at least. Okay, let's resupply these guys. So, okay, actually, let's pause it. Resupply them and get them out before this thing gets hit by another, or by an RPG. Let's see, give them some DMR ammo, give them some 7.62, not too much, they've got quite a bit. And then, oops, I get them out back into the building here. Because yeah, we're really getting targeted by RPGs here. Come on, get out. Today, please. Not past this building and into the actual objective. That way we should have captured this objective, because there couldn't really be anything else back here. These guys took a light hit, but nothing serious. These guys are actually relatively okay. Actually using that PKM ammo I gave him. It's great. That sounded bad. Okay, I just got these guys out in time before the inevitable RPG hit home. It's just, this might seem bad, but it's actually extremely lucky that we've only lost 2 BMPs so far. That was really not what I expected. And it's only because I've been able to move up my armor this aggressively that we're able to make any progress at all. These guys are receiving awfully little in terms of resistance here. Around the corner and hope that I've got enough armor here so that if someone fires an RPG, the other armor will be able to destroy him. Got a nice position there. Keep it for as long as I can. Put these guys up there as well. Them up to the, whoops, them to the wall. Why are you over here? Oh, that's the crew from the BMP, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, these guys up to the wall here. Keep the machine gun in position for now. And then let's get ready for the real push here on the right. 2 BMPs into position here. Tank into position as far up there as it can get. This tank forward. This BMP forward. This BMP forward. Gotta take the fight to the enemy here. I should make sure I have someone in this objective. I'm not sure if it's a whole objective. Let's see. got like it put in there. Guess I'll park the BMP in there. Infantry actually doing some work here. It's great. Great to see. The Shilka up behind the tank. That did not sound good. I think it was just the building collapsing. One of my tanks disintegrating. These guys are hurt already, so let's move these guys up across the street first. These guys up here. Let's get these two squads in position up next to the wall. So far so good actually. Moving up this street pretty much unpunished it seems. I don't want to speak too soon, but it looks like it. Now there's a chance that once they get to this side of the building they're engaged from this side. And we don't really have any fire support to deal with that. But I might be able to move up the BMPs here. So this tank move next to this guy. Might give this guy some room to maneuver. Is he really stuck here? Seems to be really stuck. Okay, these guys did open fire, but they got punished for it immediately. Could you move up to the street? Could you move up to the street? He could, but not through the wall. Alright. Fair enough. You reverse. Up next to these guys. The tank move into the street here. It's the BMP actually. Moving up there. There we go. Up as well. MG here. This MG does actually have a field of fire here apparently at the enemy. That's great. I'm getting a lot of spots in here. Let's see who's doing that spotting. The infantry here, yeah. So what we need here, not seeing any RPGs. We need here is the fire support. So I'm gonna have to take the risk and move these guys around the corner. Because the infantry in and of itself is not gonna win this firefight. Now this will more than likely cost me one or more armored vehicles, but I don't really feel like I've got a choice. So either sacrifice the armor or sacrifice the infantry. And right now I've got more armor than infantry. Cover, move up. This guy is just locked down. He didn't throw his track. It's just doesn't know how to move anymore, I think. got stuck. Okay, infantry is getting through unharmed. Somehow. Right, in that case, let's get a bigger presence up on this street. Ammo. Let's give them some more. These guys getting really low on ammo. I'm gonna have to give them some more as well. All the guys in the tower doing okay-ish. Oh yeah, that's a casualty right there. Very unfortunate. For every casualty they cause, they're paying though in blood. Having a really serious infantry presence here right now. Guys, just well and truly stuck. Leave this BMP here just in case these guys need ammo. Alright, let's top up here. And all the 762 by 54 they could ever ask for. Get them back in position. These guys. It's a crewman that's running away. Let's see, these guys need some... they need some machine gun ammo. Let's see. Give them 500 of that. Can't. 300 then. And some more 762 by 39. We're chewing to do that very quickly. And some RPGs. Alright. Should do. Back up against the wall here. We are slowly but surely getting the upper hand here. They are enthusiastically throwing RPGs our way. Seem to be throwing the RPGs at the infantry though, instead of at the armor, so can do that as long as they like. Shilka does not agree. Jesus Christ. Imagine that being shot at you. It's a no fun zone right here. No fun allowed. Moving past here so we don't tank. That's good right there. Move up the BMP. Feels safe enough to move these guys up right now. Move these guys up in the BMP. Get them in one of these buildings, maybe. Oof. I really wouldn't want to be these guys right now. Kaboom! Okay, I am pretty optimistic right now about our chances here. I was expecting to have to mop up through these buildings one by one, but it seems like the overwhelming firepower of the tanks and BMPs has convinced these, well, basically civilians to run off. So the intimidation factor of the armor is working, and I think without it, we would not have been able to win this battle. I mean, I don't want to cry wolf just yet. We haven't won yet, but we seem to hold the majority of the objectives, caused the majority of the casualties, and the enemy seems to be kind of on the run here. As I say that another BMP gets taken out here, but, well, those are casualties I'm gonna have to accept here. I'll refrain from moving up too much further here with armor. Apparently they've got a kind of a kill zone with an RPG there. These guys aren't seeing much, so I'm gonna move the tank up to the right. BMP up through here. BMP up to the open. They keep firing RPGs at my infantry and not at the tank. Maybe they think they can't penetrate the front of the army, which might be true. It just seems kind of strange. It's really starting to look like Syria right now. The game, by the way, is set in 2008, so the Syrian civil war started at the end of 2011, I believe. So it's not really too far off. These units will probably be just about what the Syrian army had at the onset of the civil war. What they've got right now is probably more modern. Got some help from the Russians with some more modern tanks, etc. But this probably was what they started the war out with. On ammo. Okay, I guess might want some more rockets for that RPG. So let's get you into the BMP real quick. And keep that team in there. Keep him here to capture the objective. They're really taking hold of that last objective there. We should have captured this objective. There can't be anything else left in here. We're bringing to bear the full firepower of the Syrian army here. Let's see if we can get... Surely you could get it between those buildings. They're not that close together. There you go. Just slowly move on it. Nope, not gonna happen. Alright. Fair enough. You do you. And that's another dead BMP that I failed to notice. Fortunate. These guys are moving into the buildings now though, so we'll have a lot more firepower to bring to bear here. I will actually risk peeking around the corner with the tank here. Good chance that we'll get it killed, but gotta risk a little to live a little. They've got all the ammo they could ever want. I'm gonna use the BMP to move them up. Took a casualty here. They didn't get. Let's see here. They're in this building. Bottom floor. And they're up here on these buildings. Alright. Let's have the tank hose down or... Oops. Yeah, they're in here. Have the tank destroy that building along with the Shilka. Friendly they can't see, but target them manually. Alright. Okay, I've got nothing in here now to hold that objective. If these crewmen would stop panicking, I could order them in there. Just hold it. Alright, that's probably enough. Don't want you to waste all of their ammo. They're probably dead in there right now. No further casualties here. We don't have fire superiority either. And the moment I say no further casualties, we take another one. Somewhere in this building here. Can you see that? I can't, but if I move up slightly, you should. Should be enough. He's nearly out of ammo here. Up there. Some more infantry. Let's move them up here. This guy having some trouble finding his way. See what he can see. Ouch! Yeah, that's done. Single RPG to the front, but it's enough. These things aren't really that well armored. There's one destroyed tank, unfortunate. But expected. Those are the kinds of sacrifices I'm gonna have to make here if I want to make it to that last objective. Oh, and there we go. Shilka down, or just immobilized actually. It was nearly out of ammo, so there's probably not a lot of use keeping it here. Or keeping it in action. It's a nice RPG magnet. We're now getting into the territory where moving up will definitely be costly armor-wise. I don't have very many tanks. See if this can move into here. Use some of this command infantry to capture those objectives. Like that. Oh, they've also brewed up the BMP here. Damn it. Just I'm not sure I can... The infantry will suffice to push him out here. Okay, that's another RPG gunner in that building. I want him dead, definitely. Unfortunately, the tank can't quite shoot over that rubble, it seems. That gunner is dead. Good. Let's hope no one else picks up that RPG. Alright, let's get some ammo flowing through this squad again. Some RPG rockets. Let's have them move up. And let's have him move in here and get some more ammo. Let's move them into the top floors of these buildings. I think they're... Oh, no, don't go outside. Second floor, please. you. You move into the next building here. Third floor, third floor, third floor. You guys, make sure to set up that MG up there. There we go. And that's friendly fire right there. Well done. Very, very well done. Is that team up doing anything useful over there? These guys are gonna get into the objective. So let's move the tank up. This guy's dead. I think we can smell victory right now, but rushing to it would be suicidal. Let's actually make this tank do something useful. This armor's basically been doing nothing up here. There. You will be relieved by this squad. Take that objective. I'll move you up as well. This guy's probably been shot at by an RPG, doing a smart thing. Moving back. See how far this guy gets. Just trading man and material for territory right now. Seems to be okay. Okay, he's also rattled, probably also got an RPG shot at him. It's fine by me if he wants to keep a standoff distance, as long as he keeps firing. Oh, it seems like the infantry really didn't like staying in the top of that building. Let's get them in the bottom then. Nope, that was a bit of a reckless action on my part. These guys are okay though. Be able to keep moving on this road. Get this infantry holding the actual objective. Move them in properly to make sure. And this infantry holding this objective. Okay. Let's move the tank up. Let's get the infantry into the fight. Surround the enemy as far as we can. Let's hope they start running out of RPG rockets sooner rather than later. Right now we've lost one tank, one Shilka, yeah, it's destroyed, and more BMPs than I care to think about. I'm also gonna start Moving this one around, because we need everything we can get. Rattles probably been shot at by an RPG. Still an RPG gunner in here. Need is someone to take that guy out. Let's move the tank up. There we go. Still in there though. Still got that RPG on him. Still a threat. Let's get the BMP in on the action. Let's keep that tank firing until we're sure he's dead. Okay, apparently they decided... Did I order them to move out there? I don't think I did. They got pinned down and panicked. Give him one more shot. Come on, give it to him. There you go. Move him up. Keep him back here for now. I think we lack the firepower and the infantry to really push the enemy out here. I think it's gonna have to come down to either them surrendering or it's gonna be a ceasefire. It's the only ways I see this battle ending. We thoroughly control these two objectives. Not sure if this is a separate one, but if it is, we control that one. Could actually use these guys in combat. Give them a bit more ammo. See if these guys can get away with crossing the street here. You're in the middle of that objective. Okay, let's make a move here. Somehow win this firefight. It's not gonna be by doing nothing. These guys are okay, but are pinned. Apparently he can get there. How far can he get? Hit, but not badly. Move them all up. Basically almost have them in a U shape here. Not quite yet. Still putting up one hell of a fight. Alright. Have any crewmen that can... Yeah, we do. We get into that objective, we can get this BMP into the fight. Move up this infantry right here to the armor. Guys aren't really very useful here anymore. Let's have them take over the position of the infantry in this building. This guy's still well and truly stuck, I'm assuming. Seems so. Maybe if I can get him to face another direction, might be able to move. It really doesn't feel like it. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Once they expose themselves by firing at my infantry, they get deleted. Another squad, fresh squad move in there. Another fresh BMP up to the line. Hearing RPGs, but I'm not seeing any of my vehicles exploding, so I'll take that as a win and move them up further. Ever further towards the enemy. It's gonna be the only way which we could take them out. We gotta close with and destroy, unfortunately. It's gonna cost me more armor and definitely more infantry. See how far they get. Fires, exposes himself, gets destroyed. No casualties here. That's the way I want to pull this one off. Got a pretty overwhelming base of fire here now. As long as the enemy keeps exposing himself. I'm gonna have to move this guy around. Can't get through that rubble. Now we are taking heavy casualties because apparently there's still this guy here. Now he's dead. And that's it. We have 90 men, okay, but 19 killed, 23 wounded, 1 tank lost, 5 BMPs and 1 Shilka lost. But in return we killed 166 rebels, wounded 114. They've only got 58 left. And they had a lot more men to begin with, as you can see. Took all the objectives. I think we could consider this a definite victory for the regime here. Taking back control of one of Damascus' suburbs. Slowly pushing back the embattled rebels. And they still had AT weapons left. Some of these squads had AT weapons. So it wasn't like they didn't have the weapons to combat my armor, but apparently they just failed to use it properly, or they didn't have enough ammo for them. If these RPGs had no ammo left. We're slowly pushed into a corner, taken out. I think if they'd been able to engage me earlier on, make me be far more careful with my armor, they probably would have held me back, A, for longer, and B, probably I wouldn't have been able to get all these objectives. I mean, I only got this one because they surrendered, but still, we would have had the majority of the objectives right here. Let's check, by the way, how many there were. Yeah, so there were only 3 objectives, so all of these little yellow spots just all belong to the city center victory point. Alright, well, that was a very interesting battle. I've never played as the Syrians before, and I haven't played as Syrians against the insurgents either, obviously. It's a pretty interesting setup. I think it's probably more fun than playing as the Syrians versus NATO, because you're really the underdog at that point. Right here it's more of an even battle. Not even because we have armor, but even in the sense that our infantry isn't really better at all than the enemy infantry. So it was a very, very interesting battle to me. I hope you liked it too. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.